So I thought we might continue with the enneagram series in regards to music. Last time I covered a little bit and just some point form notes about enneagram 1 types. This time I think we might do enneagram 2, which will take us into the feeling triad. The 2, 3, and the 4 are considered the feeling triad. The 2s are outwardly emotional. The 3s are a bit emotionally avoidant. The 4s tend to be very inwardly, introvertedly emotional. But the type 2 is a little bit more extroverted, emotional. I've always thought that the Enneagram Type 2 has a very lunar kind of Cancerian energy to it, which is really good sort of reflecting and absorbing what they're exposed to and synthesizing it and shining it back. And they're really great collaborators. They tend to be really great in partnerships and teamworks and things like that. They're not always wanting to be stars on their own. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes these people end up with their sensitivity makes them so valuable that they end up being, really good soulful performers and songwriters or singers or artists. But they tend to be just bred to be the best collaborators imaginable. So they're great producers often in music, co-writers, people who work as a songwriting team. They're great at taking the strengths of whatever it is that they've been given and, again, synthesizing it and kind of shining it back. Accompanists, session musicians. I've got a little bit of that energy too. I think it's because maybe I'm a Cancer rising and I've got a fair amount of lunar energy in my astrology chart. I'm not entirely a 2. I'm really an Enneagram Type 5. But I do sometimes definitely, there's some 2 energy in there somewhere, I think. Maybe a tertiary number or something. But they're almost always creative and sensitive and have a very soulful, sincere delivery on whatever it is that they're saying or doing. And as I said before, without actually, catching artists and administering a big Enneagram test and going through it, this is just what I know of artists, music, and whichever ones share the kind of energies. Things like interviews and things like performances and just things that about the artist and just going from what I have. That's all we can really do anyway. I suspect that maybe an Enneagram Type 2 musician might be somebody like, I suspect Brian May of Queen might be possibly a Type 2 or a Type 2, 3 or something sort of energy. And I think that has something to do with a lot of, there's a big emphasis on tone and vibrato, and he's got this very warm sound and this very warm energy to his playing, and a big emphasis on harmony. And even though with all the talent and resources available to him, he never really wanted to front Queen, even though he could. He was always looking, to replace the departed Freddie with another, front man. So I mean, that's always somebody you can tell, somebody who's a collaborator right there. And maybe somebody like a Chet Atkins, I think, might be also in there as well. Same thing, that really subtle vibrato and the tone and the versatility. Probably one of the best accompanists and producers and behind-the-scenes guys in all of music, I think. Same thing, they're not always after the glitz and the glamour and the stardom, but they'll be valuable to the arts in any case. Also, that could maybe be said. I suspect I'm a big fan of Larry Carlton, and I think that maybe I see a lot of those energies around his music and his output as well. Same thing, that incredibly sensitive tone and vibrato and versatility, and listening to him accompany a really great singer, like the work he did on the Joni Mitchell records in the 70s, or some of the things on the Steely Dan albums and things like that. He's an amazing behind-the-scenes guy without necessarily wanting to be a huge pop star on his own right. So I think that's just some Type 2, some Enneagram Type 2 energies in a nutshell. So I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.